What up, everybody? How y'all doing, man? Good evening. It's your boy Joe Snow, and we are back at it, man. I'm back. Thank y'all for tuning in to Joe Snow Sports Podcast, baby. We back. I know it's been a minute. College football is back, man. Aren't y'all happy? I know I'm happy. Week one obviously is in the books. We had a lot of great games this past week, man. But man, welcome back to the Joe Snow Sports Podcast. Week one of college football, is officially in the books. So I know if your team has already, stretched you out, I get it. Welcome to the club. Miami came out swinging. Notre Dame, they look solid, but Carson Beck, well, let's just say, I know y'all Georgia fans out there, y'all Googling. I might want to get with Amazon or some of these other companies and check the return policy on the quarterbacks, man. Nah. Look, he played formidable. He did all right. Now, Florida State straight up bullied Alabama. They straight bullied Alabama like they was their older cousin at a doggone family cookout, man. Arch Manning and Texas couldn't stop Ohio State. That's pretty much proof that even with the famous last name like the name Manning, man, the Buckeyes, they didn't care about that. And then of course there was Bill Belichick making his UNC debut, his hoodie and all. Bill Belichick. But look, it's only week one, and but the storylines are already wilder, and the overtime, the tailgates and all that stuff is over with in week one. So, man, we're just going to go ahead and dive right up into it, man. So, all right, man. Texas versus Ohio State, man. And Arch Manning. Look, Arch Manning debut as Texas starting quarterback. I get it. It was rocky. His accuracy problems, especially on the defensive pressure side, it hurt the offense momentum. What also killed them was the critical red zone failures that forced them, force him to throw under duress. Man, was brilliant by Ohio State's defense and the great defensive coordinator, Mike Patricia. So, his history with the Patriots and being with Bill Belichick, in those years of winning Super Bowls with New England, always had a pretty solid defense. So they had something cooking for Arch Manning, man. Let's just talk about a little bit about the game performance there for Arch Manning. So this kid had 17 completions and 30 attempts. Completed 56% of his passes, 170 yards with one touchdown and a turnover. He did throw a 32-yard touchdown to pass to Parker Livingstone late in the fourth quarter. But so ESPN highlighted that Arch had the highest percentage of off-target throws by any Texas quarterback in the past 10 years. That makes sense. So let me repeat that. ESPN highlighted that Arch Manning had the highest percentage of off targets thrown by any Texas quarterback in the past 10 years. That's crazy. I was thinking back about so many of the, quarterbacks that Texas had. But geez. Just for some situational breakdown, man. Texas, they really killed themselves or beat themselves in the red zone. They were like 1 for 5 on fourth down attempts, including being stopped twice inside the Ohio State 10-yard line. So obviously, their coach Steve Sarkisian, he's going to be beating into them, red zone. Got to score in the red zone. Obviously, he has to do better with, the offense when they're in the red zone, man. So, yeah, man. I'm not gonna be like I'm not gonna follow the trend as far as I've heard a lot of these analysts and it's game one. It's game one. And excuse me. I mean, there's a lot of season left. I mean, this kid got Manning on it carries his last name. So if anything, his dad and his uncle, Peyton and Eli. I mean, he's gonna be coach. I mean, before you become great, right? I mean, the old saying of like a baby, you first crawl before you walk, then before you run. So, um, I'm not gonna ride the bit. I just think obviously he still has a lot to prove, um, and he'll get better over time. In my personal opinion. All right, moving on. Miami and Notre Dame. The U. Look like the U is back. The defense looked at better than it did last year. Um, so Carson Beck had a pretty decent game. He did have a pretty decent game. Um, look, I been talking to friends, talking to some family members. Been talking smack about Carson Beck. I mean, again, he played pretty well. Um, again, this is game one. He completed 66% of his passes, 205 yards, two touchdowns. I do love that he didn't have no turnovers. In this 27-24 win. I'm really happy that we got a veteran quarterback. Sometimes I know, games like these, and especially playing really good teams, you just want to hope that your quarterback has good IQ, right? And so I wanted to share with you all something here that I thought would be pretty helpful, and this is what I mean with pretty good IQ. Here's sharing my screen. So Miami scored their first touchdown 7-0 on, but before I show you the first score that they scored, if you check out this play here, the previous play before they scored, Carson Beck threw a pass, and the DB, number 4 for Notre Dame, Christian Gray, he went down. He got hurt on the landing. So he had to be evaluated, and he had to sit out on the sideline for one play. So with that being said, when you have a veteran quarterback, as you can see, Carson Beck, he knows that. Now they got a rookie DB in, Mark Zachary, but he was at the bottom of the screen. But Carson Beck knowing it. But anyway, look at that. And those are the things that you hope that your quarterback can do, especially a veteran quarterback. Notice that, hey, one of their top DBs was taken out of the game and being evaluated, and take a shot. And take a shot. So I thought that was pretty good IQ on this part. Even though he didn't throw to the side of that rookie or freshman DB that came in, but he took a shot down the end zone, in which I was really happy that he did that. But I still think that there's a lot to prove. Obviously, definitely a lot to prove. One takeaway I didn't like was that one touchdown pass that he threw to CJ Daniels. I thought now the receiver made the quarterback look good in that situation. But I thought that play was actually, I give credit to CJ Daniels on that play, because that was a really good play on what he did. He got it with one hand, almost like one of them Odell Beckham Jr. Catches. So, but the way that Carson Beck threw that ball, I mean, man, the safety back there, I mean, it looked like that was set up for an interception, man. So I didn't necessarily care for it. And which I'm going to share my screen here because I can show you better. I can show you kind of what I'm talking about here. Is look at this play here. The receiver at the top of the screen. He throws the ball. Man, C.J. Daniels saved him right there. Man, made him look absolutely phenomenal with that one-handed catch. And shout out to LSU too for he was a transfer from LSU. But man, I don't know, that play was a bit risky. Throwing that, well, it wasn't a bit risky. It was risky on how he threw the ball. Safety could have intercepted the ball, but incredible catch by CJ Daniels, man, with the one-handed catch. See Michael Irvin there on the sideline. He was all hype and everything. There was a lot of Miami Hurricane alumni in the building. Jimmy Johnson, Michael Irvin, Ray Lewis, a lot of people that was in the building, man. But yeah, man. Again, I think we still have. I mean, we're gonna have Tennessee. We got Florida, right? Florida State, in which I would be getting into. But Miami still has a lot to prove, man. But I'm happy that they did get the W. So the U, baby, the U, the U. Man, let's talk a little bit about TCU versus University of North Carolina. Bill Belichick makes his debut. Man, check this out, man. Historic blowout. TCU ripped off 542 total yards, 284 passing yards, 258 rushing yards, including 2 defensive touchdowns, y'all, and a 75-yard breakaway. The 48 points allowed is the highest in Bill Belichick's coaching tenure. So, look, I'm not going to take too much from this game. I did watch it. My thing is this is I guess for me and myself and my expectations for University of North Carolina is 4 or 5 games this year, maybe, if that. But I wouldn't put nothing past Bill Belichick. I would not put nothing past Bill Belichick. I wouldn't do it. Bill Belichick. One thing about Bill Belichick, I know it don't show here. And again, guys, this is his first game as a college coach. Bill Belichick always have a good defense, and I think he'll figure it out. You know, making the transition from the NFL to now college football. I think he'll figure it out. It's Bill Belichick, people. This is a man that got rings. He's a champion. You know, we all know he knows how to coach. I think he'll eventually figure it out. It's Bill Belichick. Now, what I would say is the teams later, as the year progresses, them teams that you know, trying to keep their playoff spot or whatever, or you know, and you coming up and playing against North Carolina, don't fall for it. He'll drop a banana peel up on you, and you're gonna slip and fall. So that's just my personal opinion on the great Bill Belichick. Being known at being a Miami Dolphin fan and how they used to dominate us in our division in the AFC East. I know a little something about Bill Belichick. Now, moving on. To me, this was definitely the game, one of the games of the week, I guess. Florida State versus Alabama. Man, I tell you. Look, the final score was 31-17. Florida State won. Florida State total yards was 382 yards. Alabama total yards was 341. We're looking at about a 40-yard, 40-yard differential, right? Again, Florida State 382 yards total. Bama 341 yards. Rushing yards for Florida State was 230. Bama had 87 yards. So there's slack, there's some slack there in the run for Bama. Passing yards, Florida State had 152 yards. Bama had 254 yards. I looked and I was just checking the stats, like, man, the score, but yardage wise, it's like, it wasn't too far off, you know what I mean? And then I look at the penalties. Florida State had 4 for 40 yards, and then Bama had 8 for 70 yards. I mean, you can say, Florida State's pretty disciplined. That quarterback, though, Tommy Castellanos. Miami boy, too. Could have had you in Miami, man, but I get it. Man, 9 for 14, completed 64% of his passes, and 152 yards. And then 16 carries. This kid got 16 carries for 78 yards. This kid's a dual threat quarterback. I mean, when I think of the dual threat quarterbacks in the NFL, I mean, it's been the way to go for the past some years now, right? Those can hurt you, man. Them dual threat quarterbacks. But this kid, and I say one thing too, man, is he backed up what he was saying. I think I don't remember the periodicity, but leading up to the game, he was saying like, yo, man, I want all the smoke and all this and all that. He did his thing, man. He did his thing. He kind of got me a little nervous over there in Miami, man, when we got to face him. But awesome game by Florida State, man. Awesome game. Again, this is just week 1. I've seen this. I done seen this happen over and over. Alabama lose, and somehow they find a way to get back in the race. So, I don't know. I mean, I would say this is consider how things went last year. I think this is could be a bad sign for Bama, but I think there's levels when it comes to it. When the SEC and Coach DeBoer, I know he coached at the University of Washington. This ain't that. This ain't like Pac Northwest. This ain't that. This is the SEC, man. So you got to really bring it. You got to know how to coach. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting this college football season. So, on the topic of Florida State, here's my thing and what I'm upset about, which I really shouldn't be in a Miami fan. It's Florida State. It's a rivalry, but I'm upset at the ACC because, man, fans come storm the field. Obviously, Florida State win the game, especially going against somebody like Alabama. You guys find the University of Florida State. Y'all find the university $50,000 for the fans storming the field, bro. I mean, any college, like, what are you supposed to do when fans just storm the field? They don't got enough cops for that. So I just think that's stupid. I mean, to find a university because the fans stormed the field. I think the only thing you can do really in that situation is add some protection for the players and stuff like that. And coaches and their staff to make sure that they're safe and out of the way, I guess. But man, it's hard when you getting stampeded by a bunch of fans. I just think that's ridiculous for the conference to find a school like that. That's just my personal opinion. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, again, week 1 of college football is in the books. NFL week 1 it starts Thursday night. Yeah. Philly versus Dallas. That's gonna be great, man. So we got some great football ahead of us this weekend. So I'm looking forward towards it. But thanks again, y'all, for tuning into the Joe Snow Sports Podcast. I appreciate y'all. If you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube at Joseph Snowden 397. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and y'all have a good one. Peace.